Hello, everybody. This is Grand Phoenix from Crystal Phoenix Hobbies, bringing you Zooville, Zoo on Popo the Popsicle's realm. If you want to like and subscribe to my page, just know I am not a streamer or an architect, so you should go to Popo the Popsicle and like and subscribe his. He's currently got 184 videos and hopefully more soon. In the meantime, here we have Zooville. Again, I'm not an architect nor a long-term player, so a lot of the stuff is not going to look great. I'm also doing this on a very cheap laptop, so if this glitches, I apologize. But we have the basic buildings here, the warehouse, here's a toolsmith, all the way up to the entrance to the visitor center of the zoo. Now, do like to start off with up here we have every map that I have personally explored from the very beginning of the world down here at the beginning all the way over to where Zooville is sitting at about 13,000 blocks away from start. Possibly you can see the other little green dots that show various other cities throughout the town. Behind me, I have every ore and resource except for the Deep Slate Emerald, which hopefully will be added soon. But in the meantime, you're here for the zoo. So, start off with the petting zoo off to the left. Before getting to the petting zoo, however, we do have a set of skeleton horses. We've gone through 2 different horse traps. There should be 8 of them in here, wandering around. Come along, follow the path. And again, to avoid lag, I'm trying to avoid running, so this might take a little while. But we start off the Zooville Petting Zoo. We have the sheep, of course. This stuff is pretty basic, one of every color except for a Jeb. Off to the right here, we have horses, donkeys, and mules. A little bit of everybody, including Strider here, the best horse I've had so far. Don't you leave. The cow pies. The pig pen sty. I am running into some issue with lightning striking the pigs. I'm going to have to figure something out there. We have the only cat on the farm. I have debated creating a cat enclosure with all 11 types, but so far have not gotten there. Llama Rama. When the next update drops, I will be putting a camel in here as well and extending all the fences up. And of course the chickens. Just some basic farm animals in the petting zoo, nothing unusual. Then we head to the overworld animals. To your right, we have some bees. One finally came out of their cave, their hive. They haven't done that in a while. We have every color rabbit. They are a little shy. A single mountain goat, despite the sign. Turns out if you put 2 mountain goats together, they fight to the death, which was a great discovery as I brought 4 or 5 of them in. A couple of polar bears. They haven't gotten off that snow in a long time. A couple foxes and Arctic foxes. One apparently holding onto some dirt. We have some allays. The future enclosure for the sniffers. Again, when that update drops. And drops for everything of the overworld that the overworld animals can drop. A couple of wild wolves purposely not tamed. That would defeat the purpose of the zoo. Mushrooms, both brown and red. An ocelot who's actually up front for once. They are never actually visible. They usually hide back in that back corner over there. A couple of pandas. Some of you will note there is not a brown panda in here. I may or may not set up a breeding program later where I get a brown one. Right now, kind of okay with just the 2. 2 of every color frog. Orange one swimming down in there. And of course, every color parrot there is. At some point I need to put a music or jukebox in there so they will dance a little bit, but right now flying around to work. Go out the exit, follow the path. We head over here, start getting to some more exotic things. The overworld monsters. Starts off with the slimes. Pretty basic, y'all have seen them. We also have every kind of illager, including a witch, with the exception of an evoker. For whatever reason, whenever I put an evoker in here, it could still summon the hexes that would then pester me, so I got rid of them. We have a spider, a cave spider, a stray, and a skeleton. Some of the first ones to come into the zoo were the phantoms. If I wait here long enough, one of them should drop at me. I'm not going to wait too long though, because I don't want this video to go too long. It looks like they're not going to attack me too. Ah, there goes one. Just when I was going to give up. A couple of creepers. There's been a debate on whether or not I should put a charged creeper in here. However, there's a lot of danger involved in that, of course. And a couple silverfish. Now over here we do have one of each kind of adult zombie. I tried putting some baby zombies in here, but they kept drowning and turning into baby drowns. So I have not built a baby zombie enclosure. That may or may not be coming with a future update. If I do, I'll also build the cat enclosure as well and get all 11 cats. And goody, it's raining. Down here we've got the single Ravager, who follows you around no matter where you're at. He's definitely unhappy about being enclosed. And if you've got the sound going, which you should since I'm talking, you've been able to hear Tim, our resident warden. Ignore the darkness, he can't get you. Or me. However, he can shoot a sonic boom out of that cage, so if you're not crouched, he will shoot you, and actually quite often monsters spawn in his enclosure out here, and he'll just sonic boom. I've considered building a watchtower for people to observe him killing people. We'll get to you. But so far, obviously, I have not done that. Got 2 buildings left. The first up, we have the Nether monsters. Gotta start with just the display, the end crystal bouncing around. And then, of course, we have a ghast. The fire was not on purpose, but I kind of like it. A couple of striders. When I built it, there was a baby in there. I did not consider the fact it was going to grow up. I don't know why. It seems like such an obvious thing. But now we have 3 striders. Inside this very bad rendition of an Enderman face, we have an Enderman, Endermites, and a couple of bats. And the bats are here because it was where they spawned, and I wasn't aware I could actually capture them when I built the overworld monsters. Because they can't be leashed, I figured it wasn't possible. It was just very difficult. The Enderman had some chorus fruit. I don't know what happened to it, but it's gone, so he gets a nice empty enclosure. I may give him another chorus fruit later. Here are the bats up close. They're usually flying into lava, so you don't get a chance to look at them. And of course, the 2 Endermites, safely hidden away from the Enderman here. Now, this enclosure, in order to stop the Enderman from escaping, required mining out and replacing 421,000 blocks. It took a couple of minutes to get the Enderman cage available, which makes him perhaps the second most difficult creature in the zoo, the most difficult being the shulker here, who's not sitting quite where I want him to. I want him down in there, but I'm not going back in that cage. and am not taking him off his minecart because then he can teleport who knows where. The issue with the Shulker, at least in Bedrock Edition, which this one's on, is a glitch since 1.16 has made them spawn at 512, which is well above the build limit. Had to use a minecart launcher just to attack to get one. For those wanting to do it later, the number of the TNT necessary is 6, not 24. I'm pretty sure I still have a minecart in space. Anyway, we have the piglins, the zombified. You see both the axe, which means there was a piglin brute, and the swords. Little baby down there. Have a couple of magma cubes. Much harder to transfer than the slimes were. We have the zoglins. I'd love to have some hoglins, but of course they cannot show up without getting zombified, so zoglins it is. A blaze, where I discovered that blazes can control minecarts, made things look interesting. And a wither, skeleton. There's of course no wither in the zoo, you can't do that without destroying your zoo. Sorry, nighttime. There's also no dragon because, you know, overworld. In the last building, we have the Zooville Aquarium. We got a couple of glow squids on the right, with their cousins, the squids, on the left, who need some glow dust. We have the Elder Guardian. You saw his effects earlier. He is not happy about being here. He's the second most recent addition. Yes, I know. But you can't leave. A couple of sea turtles. Enclosure. By the way, underneath me, if you can see it through the mining fatigue, we have all the tropical fish. We have the axolotls. I do not have the blue ones yet. I do have a breeding program going. I'm hoping it won't take too long, despite the 1 in 1200 chance. 2 dolphins, who I'm constantly afraid are going to land on this sand and suffocate. So far, I've been lucky. It's also part of why he's so pissed off. He'd really like to get them. Some salmon and cod. We've all seen them in the rivers. A couple pufferfish. At this point in all stages. 2 guardians who will not go past the coral. I'm not sure if they're just trying to get the dolphins or what. And finally, we have some drowned. I thought I had a baby in here. Either it's hiding or I'm imagining things, but we definitely have 2 adults. And that winds up taking us back to the visitor center, where once again we have the map, trees of every kind, and as always, donations are appreciated. Once again, not an architect. Thought I'd try it, thought I'd have some fun with it, and something just fell out in the dining room. But hopefully you guys at least enjoyed the trip to the zoo itself. I do have a church at the end there. And what I really like is for those of you who do the hardcore challenges to see about going through and building your own. Let's see if others can... That's not where I was at. Let's see if the others can build a zoo on more difficult things. This was all on survival mode, no creative. And I'd like to see somebody else do it. Alright,